I don't know how it is for you guys. I may have mentioned it before, but whenever I am looking for something to watch, there's always an abundance, right? You go into the streaming services and there is an abundance of stuff. You could spend more time looking for something to watch than it would take you to watch something, right? But for me, I find that one of the great filters or one of the great motivators is when a film is going to be leaving soon. Because then your hands are kind of tied, It's like, you want to watch it. It's leaving soon. You got to pull the trigger and go. And so not all the services exactly tell you when stuff is leaving, though. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But I have the Criterion channel, and they are very good about that. They curate everything, so they tell you what's coming the following month, and then they tell you what's leaving at the end of the month, so you can kind of prioritize your watch list. I was on there the other day poking around, and I saw, I drifted into the leaving soon, and there was a movie on there that I had actually never watched in its entirety. I remember when it came out in 1995, so I was like, you know what? It's been 31 years. Let's put this baby to bed. So I watched Dead Presidents from 1995, directed by the Hughes brothers, and their previous film, Menace to Society, was really kind of like a breakthrough. And Dead Presidents built on that. It has a lot of the same actors in it, but they're totally different stories. They went in a totally different direction. And so Dead Presidents is kind of a coming-of-age story about a young man who grows up in the Bronx, which I and Steve are very familiar with. But it takes place in the late 1960s and early 1970s. So the backdrop is the Vietnam War. And since he's finishing high school, he wants to join the Marines. And then he goes to Vietnam, and then he comes back from Vietnam. And so the film has a very big story that it's trying to tell. And for the most part, I felt like it really succeeded. There were a lot of things about the film that I liked, that I enjoyed, but at the end of it, it kind of felt a little disjointed. Like there were some things that just if they connected it a little bit better, if they spent a little bit longer, like more time, and I'm not talking like tens of minutes, like it could have been polished and then tightened up and maybe had 5 or 10 extra minutes. Like as it is, the movie was 2 hours, first frame to last frame. So, and that has, the beginning and end credits in there as well. So it was pretty, pretty tight, pretty focused, but it was almost episodic, like the first 30 minutes is when he's in high school before he goes to the war. The next 30 minutes is when he's in Vietnam and stuff that happens to him there. The next 30 minutes is when he comes home, and then the last 30 minutes revolves around a heist. And the film is kind of marketed on the heist. If you look at the poster, like he's wearing the makeup from the heist, and it's all about the heist. So when I was watching, I was like, well, when the fuck are they getting to the heist? Like he came back from the war an hour in. I was like, all right, cool. Now we're going to plan the heist. And nope, we're just going to go through his day to day for a little while. And then we're going to plan the heist for about one scene and then execute the heist in the next scene and then have the aftermath. And so I was a little, not lost, but I was just a little like, oh man, I guess I was a little disappointed because it didn't meet my expectations. And normally I like that, but with this film, I was waiting 30 years for this heist, and I love a good heist. So I was, yes, man, oh man. But I gotta say, there were some really good lines. The cast was really, really good, and the performances were really good. It was Lorenz Tate was the lead. Keith David, Terrence Howard, who I was super surprised to see. He was like almost a kid. It's like 5 or 6 years before like anybody even really heard of him, but he was there as Cowboy. And he was doing a good job, too. Chris Tucker, right out of Friday, So he was just like, he was living his best life, before Rush Hour took over and took off. Yeah, it was just, and other faces popped up, like Michael Imperioli popped up. Freddie Rodriguez popped up. Bokeem Woodbine, he plays a sick motherfucker in this movie. And he gives a great performance as well. He's just like off the wall, but then he's reeled in. It's really kind of dynamic. So it was exciting to see him again in like an earlier role, because he pops up every now and then as well. So it's just like, oh man, like everybody, the gang's all here, Yeah. So I really liked the cast. I really liked the performances. I just felt the execution could have used a little bit more focus, and the story could have used a little bit more polish.
I had seen it once. It had to be more than 20 years ago. So, and it's so funny that when you had said you were going to do that movie for the Coming Distractions, I was just thinking about it. Like, I got to rewatch that. But I remember really enjoying it and thinking it was good. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how I would think. What I would think of it now, 25 or however many years it's been since I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, when it came out, we were kids, and so everything, with guns and heists is going to be awesome, and profanity. Like, yeah, give me more of that, But as you get older and you see and experience more stuff, and then you witness real tragedy, it's like, and real news events that reflect the, reality they're trying to manufacture. It's like, oh yeah, shit, no, that sucks. Oh no, not that decision, no. So it was interesting, but I definitely think the performances are really what make it stand out.
For me this month, I had quite the same experience than you, Peter, regarding your platform, because I watched a film that I put on my watch list on Netflix a long time ago, and suddenly I had a pop-up like it's gonna disappear if I don't watch it. I need to watch it soon. So and I was looking for a movie, because I don't know if you remember, but like 2 months ago I talked about Wuthering Heights. And I like those kind of movies. I feel it's the kind of movies you like when you're single. and I was looking for something like that. So I found Pride and Prejudice. And when you think about it, it was 20 years ago. It's crazy that I haven't watched it before. But I guess the two of you know this film?
I know of it.
I've seen it.
The one
yes.
with Keira Knightley?
I haven't seen it, but I know of it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's quite the type of film that you're going to like, Steve. I don't know. Maybe. You never know. But
it depends. I mean, yeah, I'm open to almost anything.
But you like Keira Knightley?
Yeah, yes and no.
Yeah, I was about like you. Yeah, I was like you, because I felt that she always do the same kind of stuff. And actually in this one, she's really convincing, and she more nuanced, more subtle in her acting. So, and I think she had an Oscar nomination. I'm not quite sure about that, but I know she had some success with this role. So really, you should watch it just for that. Maybe the story is not your kind of stuff, because of course it's a romance. But I was really surprised about that. And also the whole casting of this film is crazy. You have Rosamund Pike. Rosamund Pike. She plays a very difficult character because she's emotionally reserved, so you don't really understand her character at the beginning. So she really is subtle in her acting. You have also Judi Dench, Donald Sutherland.
Yes,
he played the father. And it's a very great casting. I was really surprised of that. I thought Keira Knightley was the only one to be famous. But and the only thing I didn't like at this film is the fact that everything is focused on the romance. And I felt that in this kind of movies, you want to know more about how it was during this time, how were their life, their everyday life. And everything is just about the romance between Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth. So, but it's very, if you like this kind of films, the romantic historical movies, you have everything you want. The costume, the settings, and as I said, the acting is really great. So yeah, I recommend it, definitely.
I remember it being pretty good. I mean, it's not like a go-to movie for me, but I remember liking it, and I remember thinking recently, like, yeah, I should rewatch that. Like I remember enjoying it like more than I thought I would.
Like Pete was saying, you're scrolling through all the choices on whatever streaming service you've got, and I do the same thing. Like I end up spending more time looking than watching. So I've adopted this new thing where it's like if I've added it to my list, I just pick a streaming service, I go into the list, and I'm like, that one, go. And I just press play, I don't even think about it. So one of the movies I had added on Netflix was The Guilty, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he's fantastic. So I'll watch anything he does. This is one of the ones I hadn't seen yet. And I was like, okay. Because, sometimes with the Netflix movies, like, they could be good or they could be straight to video or, quality or whatever. But I'm like, what's Gyllenhaal? Yeah. So I'm pretty confident that even if the movie's not great, he's going to be awesome. And he was. I thought he was awesome in this. But without giving spoilers, the premise of the movie is he is a police officer. He has done something wrong. We don't know what that thing is. But part of, I guess, if you want to say him being put on the bench, is he's answering 911 calls in the call center. Not so different than our favorite film, Buried, with Ryan Reynolds. I was like, all right, well, it's in the whole thing's in the call center. So, like, I know Gyllenhaal can entertain me, but it's like, I want to see how they make the story unfold just at this
how do
desk.
they sustain the entertainment and the conflict and everything?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, basically, so he's getting calls and he's dealing with them, and he gets one specific call. It's a woman crying, and she's been abducted, and she's with the guy's driving the truck, and he's next to her. You never see them ever. She's pretending she's talking to her child, and then he picks up on, you're in trouble. He gives her the yes or no questions to help her get through it. And then he tries to have people go track her down, like, stop this car. But it's his passion, Gyllenhaal's passion, his enthusiasm. I think with a lesser actor, this could have been boring, really boring, really quickly. He keeps you so engaged, and I love watching him specifically because how do you make normal people different one from the next? So he has just enough of a dangerous edge in his attitude and how he treats, the fellow officers in the room with him, that you say, oh, he's not like he was in, this movie. So, but you get behind his passion. Like we got to get this woman out of this truck. We got to figure this out. And it's like, I think it's like an hour and a half. So it's a tight movie. It moves really quickly. Once you get the lay of the land of kind of like what his attitude is as a person, as a character, then he gets that call, and then you're off to the races. So, not a life-changing movie. Not like I wouldn't say it's one of his, not like, I'm not saying it's an Oscar-worthy performance or anything like that. Take that for whatever you value the Oscars these days, but it's a really, really good performance. It keeps you engaged. There's some other officers in it. Nothing really of note. It's really just him with that phone. I
wanted to ask, like, do other people come in and out of the call center? Do they ever they never leave the call center? It's all just on the phone?
He starts in the call center, and then his shift ends. But he does not want to, detach himself from this situation. Like, he wants to oversee, like we got to save her. So he moves. So he's in the call center. He's got a guy next to him, but then he leaves for the day, but he just goes into another office, and he goes onto another computer, and he's trying to pick up, anyone gets that call, send it to me. And the only actress I recognize from it, Christina Vidal, who's in Life with Mikey. Which I love. Yeah. So she plays one of his fellow officers, but it really is like, they pop in, hey, pick up line 2, or hey, knock that off. So it's not really a whole lot of engaging. Most of his engagement comes from people on the other side of the phone, and you never see them. So, but every performance in it keeps you invested, and you want that resolution. Like, you feel like you're in there with him, and he, like I said, he does a great job of pulling you in on this journey. So, I mean, if you want to watch a nice, tight thriller for like, an hour and a half, I don't think you could go wrong with this one.
Yeah, a lot of times that's like, it's almost a challenge, like it's definitely a writing challenge. Like, how do I sustain this story, this tension for this duration of movie? But then when you go to make it, it's like, you got to get that casting right.
Yeah.
Or it's going to blow up in your face or fall on its face, like it's not going to leave it's not going to leave the garage, like it's just going to stay there.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's interesting. Yeah, I like movies like that. And I've looked up like a list of movies where it's like one actor or two actors, and they're just, it's almost like a play. It's like you got to keep the engagement going for the audience, and how do you do it, and how do you do it in this situation or these circumstances. So, yeah, it's fun that you mentioned Buried, but yeah, that's such a traumatic experience. So it's like to compare anything to Buried, it's like, I don't know about that.
It's a similar thing of, can this actor, who I know is very good, keep with the material he's given, keep me engaged for an hour and a half?
Well, there's that movie that Tom Hardy did called Locke, where it's just him driving in the car for 90 minutes, but he's on the phone and like stuff is happening. And I think this sounds a little bit more similar to that, where it's like, okay, we're mobile, we're on the phone, the stakes are, set. Whereas Buried is just like, because I've seen Buried, a couple of times. I was just like, oh man, I don't know that I'm ready to go back in the box.
It's in the box.
But I'll get in the room with Jake Gyllenhaal. That's cool.
Yeah. So I recommend it. I think you guys might enjoy it.
Well, I think everybody might enjoy our conversation about Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So I really hope that everybody comes on back to the podcast next week to hear what we have to say regarding Mr. Bueller. We'll be discussing that next week, and those are the coming distractions for this month.